the circular economy of plastics from Braskem's view. That will be our next presentation, to be delivered by Fabiana Quiroga, Director of Circular Economy at Braskem for South America. Good morning, Fabiana. Welcome. Good morning. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I'd like to thank Alfredo for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here talking about circular economy and Braskem's journey through this transformation. I'd like to start by talking about the current scenario. Let me check if I can change my slides. I think I got it. So, some of our colleagues talked about the importance of plastics and chemistry in our daily lives. Plastics are used in many different ways: cars, packaging, healthcare. The importance of plastic during the pandemic was huge and key to make sure everyone was protected. And because of its excessive use and unsuitable disposal, has caused significant impact on the environment, and all industries are both affected and responsible for that impact. So these initiatives are very important. As Gustavo said, companies need to cooperate, they need to get involved. And I'd like to share with you what Braskem has been doing in partnership with other companies, because we won't get anywhere by ourselves. So, given this critical scenario, Thais shared some data with us. I've got some data for you as well. The first one about greenhouse gas effects. So 70% of greenhouse gases come from fossil fuels. And plastics can be a solution for that because it's lighter. Guido talked about flexible packaging, the use of material that can be used to protect food and reduce CO2 emissions. The other side is how important our actions are to reduce the impact of plastic waste, both in landfills or in the environment. 80% of the plastic waste produced since 1950 is still in landfills or simply disposed of in the environment. And that's a waste. And we also have plastic leakage to the oceans, which can reach 113% by 2040. Thais from the Ellen MacArthur Foundation talked about that. If we don't do something now and together, we will not reach that objective. So in that context, Braskem has been moving towards a circular economy. And what is a circular economy? To avoid waste, so waste then becomes a raw material, using less natural resources and making use of all that in a new production process. Circular economy is part of the sustainability concept, which is a broader concept and should be part of every company's pillars. So we came up with our own macro objective. We went over our sustainability strategy and decided to focus on these 7 pillars which are associated to the UN's 2030 agenda and its SDOs: health and security, economic and financial results, appreciating plastic waste, mitigating climate change, eco-efficient, operational, more eco-efficient, operational, social responsibility, human rights, innovation, and sustainability. I'd like to highlight 3 of these pillars in my presentation: valuing plastic waste, mitigating climate change, and sustainable innovation. And they all have to do with what I just said about circular economy and a carbon neutral circular economy, where we will work both on advancing renewable raw materials and renewable energy. So at the start of the chain, we're here, first generation petrochemical industry, moving towards circular naphtha, renewable naphtha, replacing fossil fuel, moving forward in our energy mix with more renewable solutions. Then moving on to the second generation, Braskem is part of that by producing resins and working with our clients in designing their products. This is extremely important. The previous speakers talked about this, that we need to work on the design, taking circularity into consideration, the correct consumption and disposal, and focusing on returning to a circular economy. So chemical recycling and mechanical recycling. So what does that mean? We have traditional mechanical recycling. We already have that in Brazil and the world. So you collect plastics and you turn them into new plastics, new resin with recycled content. There's a mechanical washing and extrusion processes and chemical recycling, which is turning that into new raw material for the production process. So when I said we're moving forward with renewable solutions at the petrochemical start, I'm talking about circular naphtha that comes from recycled plastic. And we've been doing all that through partnerships and in line with our goals and objectives. Our goals are clear when it comes to the disposal of plastic waste as well as for climate change. In terms of plastic waste, we want to increase the volume of products with recyclable content, so reaching 300,000 tons by 2025 and 1 million tons by 2030. Also, making available products with recycled content to our clients and avoiding 1.5 million tons of plastic waste from being incinerated, ending up in landfills, or leaking to the environment. These are all very ambitious initiatives in terms of volume. Last year, for instance, we reached 10,000 tons of products with recycled content. So by 2025, we need disruptive scale, and we can only achieve that through partnerships. I'll share that with you in a minute. In terms of climate change, we're focusing on becoming carbon neutral by 2050, and on the way to that, to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions by 15% by 2030. Reducing CO2 is extremely important when implementing circular economy, because in addition to avoiding waste and reducing the use of natural resources, you need to reassess iterations so that you can reduce CO2 emissions. We're working on 3 fronts. The first one is to reduce emissions. And in order to do that, we have implemented and are implementing initiatives to increase our renewable energy mix. We have Parque Solar. We have different projects, solar parks, wind energy, and to reduce our emissions within Braskem's operations. The second pillar focuses on offsetting emissions by offering renewable solutions to our clients and to capture CO2. So we have the I'm Green polyethylene and Mag Verde, which is a raw material for the production of PET. I'm Green is from sugarcane, and the next one is from sugarcane production. The second one focuses on innovation. We're developing technologies to capture CO2 emissions. And one example I can give you is our partnership with the University of Illinois in Chicago. We are at the early stages of development, but we want to capture CO2 emissions and to turn them into raw materials. So first, we would have more sustainable raw material, and we'd also be able to recover CO2 emissions during Braskem's production process.
As for our green portfolio, in addition to our the green, we also provide products with recyclable products. So we have green recyclable, that's recycled material, and then the combination between bio-based with recycled. In this way, we maximize our solution offering not only CO2 capture, but also circularity, a solution that provides our clients with recyclable materials. When we look at our portfolio today, we have different grades. We have commercial grades, we have over 50 grades under development within Braskem globally. So as a company develops, and this is something we experience at Braskem, we share learnings between all our regions and we develop local solutions. So if we produce a resin locally, we need also circular solutions to be developed globally. So we use both a rigid and flexible PNPP, not only in Brazil, but also in the United States and Mexico. In Europe, we have local development projects, but the grade is still in development, so it cannot be a commercial grade yet. And this means that we focus on developing and offering solutions with our customers that have recyclable content. All our solutions are based on mechanical recycling. In addition to the product, when we consider circularity or a circular economy, as I mentioned at the beginning, we need to rethink the entire design process from its very beginning. We have many initiatives which I'll be showing you how we support our customers in their process of designing products, the participation of Braskem in the entire network, and the tool that was developed. So we also take action internally and with our clients to offer more elements for decision-making purposes, considering or with a view to a more circular product. In production, we need to reduce waste generation. A project we implemented that will be presented this afternoon by Miguel Bayensi. This is an important initiative. We want to avoid pellets leaking into the environment, both in-house, I mean industrially, but also as it is transported to its final destination. In, and transformers are also part of this project. And Braskem was certified last year in 2020. When we discuss consumption, it is important to see how the entire industry is involved, but also how consumers participate, both by consuming consciously, but also by disposing of these products consciously. And I'd like to stress the Educatu program. It's an education on sustainability and the right disposal. The idea is to implement a digital platform for primary school children and also content information provided to teachers in the local school network. In addition, Plástico Transforma is another initiative with the Braskem initiative called PIC between Braskem and Abiplast. The idea is to provide information and knowledge to stress the importance of conscious consumption and also the choice of products. Products that are more sustainable should be valued and appreciated. There's also an initiative in the United States with this program in different stages, how waste is sorted at different stages, and how they can be returned. So you have products that have recycled content. Collection. We have some initiatives to provide support to pickers cooperative or garbage picker cooperatives, and also uh, initiatives that provide food for them. So plastic has a value. In this exchange shows the importance of the right disposal procedures. And then a global alliance to put an end to plastic waste in oceans. The objective is to invest $1.5 million in actions focusing on getting eliminating plastic waste, making it get into the circular economy. In Brazil, we have a regional product. We're looking for local opportunities to implement projects. This initiative also involves a partnership with a network. When we identify new projects, we submit these projects to EPW, or the End Plastic Waste Alliance. And then we have mechanical and chemical recycling initiatives, which I'll be presenting later and provide further information on. Specifically about mechanical recycling, I'll now show you, well, there's a little delay, but uh, before discussing mechanical recycling, let's discuss design. Design ensures you have sustainability at the end of the process. So we developed a proprietary technology to design for environment. In other words, designing a product taking into account its environmental impact with a methodology that not only considers circularity at the end of the chain, but all the impact, the use of resources, and the potential emission or that the product may generate, and the use of life cycle analysis for the entire decision-making process of our clients. This methodology has been used with our clients on a day-to-day basis, providing tools for analysis, and also in design for environment initiatives or the Desafio Design Initiative. This methodology was launched through this design challenge project that started in 2019 with Colgate, Palmolive, and Kimberly-Clark. So they pose their own challenge, and we have a 3-day hackathon with students and design professionals. And then we developed prototypes, offered solutions. So for every development of these products, we analyzed the life cycle, defining what was less and what was more effective. For example, the Navy toilet paper, one of the greatest environmental impact is the uh, cardboard roll inside the toilet paper. Although it's made of paper too, this material is hardly ever recycled. It's thrown into the same garbage or trash container in the bathroom with the remainder of the toilet paper. So when you get rid of that cardboard cylinder inside the toilet paper, you reduce the impact. So it's not only about plastic, but also how other materials can be or can have less of an impact. Then in 2020, we had other partnerships with the Boticario and the BRF groups. We sought solutions both for pizza delivery packaging using the possibility of reusing plastic uh, packaging, and then with lipstick, the possibility of using refill lipstick. So it's not only about reusing recycled material, but also how to make everything more circular, and even the use of plastic or refraining from using plastic when it's not needed. Three awards we received. First, marketing and branding, then the popular vote. And that's so interesting to see how we can have a good circular economy with the right partners. Heineken and then Natura. With Heineken, we collected disposable cups in the Rock in Rio concert, and that was made into a resin that was used in a Natura packaging, in Natura packaging. And then Johnson& and Johnson, that's the popular vote category. We developed flexible packaging with 33% recyclable material. And this is a great challenge in terms of technology, in terms of flexible packing. It is possible. It can be done if you do the right thing and have the right partners, including Johnson& and Johnson and our converter partner. These two examples show how important cooperation helps in innovation and that we can achieve transformation. Now, innovation, mechanical and chemical recycling. In mechanical recycling, the focus is on improving the quality of recycled material. As a result, we have further opportunities to use it. We have further uses to it. And in chemical recycling in the short run, based on pyrolysis, and this is transformation through thermal chemical reactions of plastic made into oil, similar to naphtha. And in the long run, many initiatives looking at the solution or the shortest solution to transform some waste material into raw materials. Now, partnerships and investment in mechanical recycling first. This is an example of working by anticipating. Tessipar, this is a landfill manager company. So they had semi-mechanical sorting of raw waste that was to be landfilled. So we sorted that before it gets into the landfill. The solution is interesting. In addition to collect sorting and preparation, in Brazil there is an additional challenge to pre-sorted waste because it's not very effective. Performance levels are not so good. So this is one possibility or one solution. Rather than landfilling, we can reuse this material in a new production process. Now, investment. We're investing in a new recycling plant, expecting to become operational at the end of the year. And we have invested 67 million reals, and the capacity is 14,000 tons. The expectation is 250 million packaging units that are reused rather than being thrown into the environment. So we work in collaboration with a partner that will operate this plant for Braskem. The idea is to implement and also increase the capability of recycling in Brazil, and that adds value to our materials. When you consider the importance of recycled resin or resin produced from recycled materials, this is one solution, adding quality to materials and also making it more valuable. And this will pull the entire uh, chain into this process. Then our recycling partners, they should be highlighted in their working with content, improving processes, improving quality. Braskem creates formulations in what are the virgin resins that will be blended to add quality to the material. And these partnerships, all these partners are so important. When we look at waste, it's all over the country. So if we have units in all regions, we can produce resin with recyclable content that's of high quality, and also, in other words, expanding the uses or purposes of this material. And this will, of course, provide value not only to the material, but also to all the recycling agents in the circular economy. And then our recycling island. It was just announced. It's in our Innovation and Technology Center. The idea is to improve or develop improvements for our recycled products. We want to eliminate barriers to its use and that which we believe provides quality. We want a dedicated area, an area dedicated to recycling. This means great strides are being made in the industry that we really want to improve and further advance in recycling, learning and developing day after day. Now, chemical recycling. This solution is also known as advanced recycling. The chemical and petrochemical industry, they have been striving to find solutions. But why is chemical recycling complementary to mechanical recycling? Because chemical recycling provides the opportunity of addressing one of the questions we have asked about flexible packaging and some materials that are harder to recycle. So this is a great opportunity. In chemical recycling, you may have a greater mix of plastics than in mechanical recycling. So our focus in terms of sources of raw materials, the idea is to use more flexible plastic waste because it's unlike a mechanical recycling. And also in terms of application, at the end of the process, you'll have virgin resin again. And this is important. It should be made very clear. What is chemical recycling and what is the end product? You'll have a product that's exactly like virgin resin because you're just replacing the raw materials. So you start the production process to produce ethene and propene that are the raw material for polyethylene and polypropylene. And then you have the resin that may be applied to all segments without restrictions. This is very relevant when we consider that we end up having virgin resin that provides raw materials for the entire recycling process. We have been working in partnership with this Institute for Sustainable Process Technology, and it has support from the Netherlands. They're investing 2 million euros to develop advanced recycling. Another partnership is with the Sinai School from the University of Rio de Janeiro. The idea is to develop catalysts for pyrolysis to improve the efficiency of all the processes that generate more products and also to make this more economically viable. Finally, there's also a partnership with Encina in the United States to implement a pyrolysis plant. So we are developing this partnership to have access to material that will be produced in this plant. And finally, and this is my last slide before we have our Q&A session, our plants are certified. And what is ISCC? This is an international certification agency that certifies processes. So plants and industrial units will get this raw materials. What is the goal behind this? Well, as I said before, you produce raw materials, that's circular naphtha, and then you feed the cracker with this material. It will be used with other fossil raw materials. It's a mass balance process. There's no specific lines for a particular type of raw material to circulate in. They will be used in the same equipment. And then you certify that you added the right amount of material, and that exactly amount of material will be sold to our to your client, and the client will certify that volume that was received, and then you will know what recyclable material that came from what chemical recycling process it came from, that used plastic waste at the beginning of the chain, so that you have circular uh, ra- circular raw materials rather than linear. That's a great contribution. In addition to mechanical recycling and the advance and investment that is being made into it, we also want to have chemical recycling as a solution to this great challenge, which is to generate the generation of plastic waste. So thank you very much again for inviting me, for the opportunity of talking to you, for your attention. I'm at your disposal. If you have any questions, I'm ready to discuss them. Thank you very much. So this was Fabiana Quiroga, Director of Circular Economy at Braskem, South America. Yes, we do have some questions that were received during your presentation. First, Rodrigo Burmalaki. He asks, Braskem circular economy projects, are they mapped out as the rest of the chain, especially for the transformation part? Yes, as I said in my presentation, a circular economy will only work if we are all working together, all elements of the chain, both us and our clients, not only offering products that have recycled product, but also renewable content products, and also design challenges. We have to consider the design of these products, and also inviting them to participate in some of our initiatives like Surmise and the cooperative projects, innovation projects like the Braskem Labs. So they participate with us, analyzing startups that are in the path to the circular economy. In the last Braskem Lives, we have startups focusing on innovation, and most of them were presenting circular economy solutions, which shows that this is a priority. It's badly needed and something we have to work together to achieve. And then Plastico Transforma, that's another project from both Braskem and its converters to learn more about plastics, its conscious use, and the importance of recycling so that we achieve this, or we transition to an effective circular economy with fewer resources and less waste. Fabiana, in terms of renewable naphtha, how about the bio content of products? Is there any certification for this? Is there mass balance? These were questions asked by Luciana Fonseca Moreira. Very good. Right. So there are two important elements to stress here, to distinguish. In the South, we produce ethene and green polyethylene, which has a specific chain with which we can identify its molecule through C14 testing, the amount of new carbon, renewable carbon in the solution. This is a solution that we provide that's not mass balance. And then we're working on the other front about circular naphtha certification as well as renewable naphtha. What is renewable naphtha? This is naphtha that's produced by means of vegetable oils, plant-based solutions, and this is would be part of our production process. By using the same equipment, before we have enough volume that will really justify its own lines. We use mass balance. In other words, everything is fed into the same place, the same ovens or furnaces, and this certification, ISCC, this agent organization certified both renewable and circular product plants. So we control all the inputting of this material and also provide certification of for our customers at the output. Paulo Francisco da Silva asks, how about the cost of pelletized products? Is that competitive? Is it cheaper than virgin material? The Brazilian market looks at recyclable products as a cost reduction alone. That's an excellent point. We're still developing in this respect in terms of valuing this all recyclable products. The idea is to focus on higher quality. This is why we need innovation and technology in this new plant to add quality and also to value this material. As Gustavo said, you have the pricing logic of recycled material. It's very different from virgin material. And there's also logistics costs, all the transportation, washing, production again. And there's also one concern that we are also working on and that recyclers have been discussing. There's tax, the tax impact of this activity when you buy waste. When you buy, it's not part of don't get tax exempt. When you sell it, you pay tax. So you need also to work on the tax system to make these projects feasible, not only within our network, but everywhere to strike an economic balance between all these elements. So having these material, making them more sustainable, this is something that people should value. And also the right price should be paid by people. We are still um, valuing, in other words, new generations are still challenging sustainability. They're expecting sustainable products to be the reality of the future, the greatest market demand. But then you can also pay for all the costs of the entire chain, making it more profitable for all recycling projects. Fabiana Sergio Dakar asks if there's any partnership with national universities in research in PE and MAG. In renewables, we have a lab in Campinas, in the city of Campinas, and we have partnerships to develop solutions and also ways to renewables. In terms of MAG, we have a partnership with a technology by a Danish company, but the entire development of renewable chemistry. And we should stress that this is what makes Braskem stand out. We have had this lab for many years, pioneers in the development of renewable solutions, not only in PE, resin, but also in chemicals. And MEG is a great example. And this, of course, entails universities, partnerships, not only with foreign organizations, but also in Brazil. So collaboration and innovation, it makes it very clear that this is required for us to reach our goals toward a circular economy, and universities are an integral part of this process, not only foreign universities, but also Brazilian universities.
Fabiana, a gente tem, infelizmente, nós estamos com o tempo agora apertadinho, não temos mais.
Unfortunately, we're tight for time and we haven't got any time for more questions, but thank you so much for joining us at the 4th Brazilian Plastics Congress, and I will see you in a minute at our debate. All right, thank you. Before we start our first debate, we'd like to remind you that we have the "Which straw would you choose" quiz. You can choose your answer here on the screen or at the cbplastico.com.br website. We will give you the best option at 4:20 during the presentation. Plastic as a key player in circular economy with Marcos Iorio at the Jack Sierkiewicz room. Please do interact with us by posting on Instagram and Twitter Twitter using hashtag CBPlásticos. Your pictures will be shown at the Sustainplast booth. Please remember that your Instagram account cannot be on private mode.